It's All Light. I'm your host, Natalie Baugh, and today's special guest is Sage LeSueur, all the way from Provo, but originally from Carlsbad, California, and recently from Poland, right? I guess you could say that. You lived there. She got back from her mission in March?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, Sage.
Yeah, so like Nat said, I'm from Carlsbad, but I was in Poland for 18 months, got back March 14th, nailed that. So I was there when everything started with the war, so that was crazy.
Crazy.
Trying to learn Polish, also, that was also crazy, because it's pretty difficult. But yeah, so I love the beach because I live right there when I'm at home. Right now I'm just in classes. I'm in a river rafting class, so that's fun.
No way. Where do you guys river raft?
We're gonna take take a trip to the Snake River and go down that. Yeah.
That's
which is
awesome.
so fun.
That's way cool. Do you know what you want to study?
I want to go into experience design and management.
Great choice. Yeah.
I haven't applied to the program yet, so we'll kind of see how it all goes. I'm just taking generals and prereqs right now.
Right. Good for you.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known about that a little sooner because I just got into the PR program when I heard about that major, and I hadn't done any of the business prerequisites, so I just kind of left it where I was, but sounds like an incredible major.
Yeah, I've only heard such good things about it. And the river rafting class I'm taking is from the professor who kind of came up with the program, and so it's cool to get to learn from him and have experience.
That's awesome. I love any type of active class. I took the learning through service class, and we can go out and do service, and I loved that class.
Yeah, that sounds so cool.
So I forgot to mention how I know you. So Sage's uncle is my brother-in-law.
Yes.
And she's also my little sister's roommate because when our sister and your uncle, it's crazy to think Coop's your uncle. When they got married, Sage and Brooke met and became friends. I was on my mission, so I missed that first bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
And you and Brooke have been to Guatemala together, and just California trips. You came and stayed in Utah, right?
Yeah, went to the cabin.
Oh, yeah. So fun. So Sage is now basically our cousin, even though she's a niece-in-law.
Yeah, it makes explaining how we know each other easier. Me and Brooke are always just like, we're cousins.
Yeah, no, totally. So tell us, well, I'm going to start off with the question of the day, and then we'll go into more of what you light up about. So let's see. What would be the title of the book about you if your worst enemy wrote it?
Oh.
Or just someone who doesn't like you? This is a weird question, but bear with me.
Probably Sergeant at Arms. I don't know. The only person I can think about that literally the only person I can think of that would maybe have a strong opinion about that, I lost to in the student body presidential election, and she won student body president, and I was Sergeant at Arms. So maybe it would be
that's a good name. I like it. My mind went to obviously I love my siblings, but of course those are sometimes the ones you unapologetically say everything to. So I'm like, what would my little brother name a book about me, or my sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily I don't have too many enemies. I did have a girl subtweet me in high school. Do you know what a subtweet is?
No.
Maybe it'll come back on Threads. But a subtweet was where you talked about someone, making it obvious that everyone knew who you were talking about, but you never mentioned their name. And so me and this girl liked the same guy. This happened twice, sophomore year and junior year. But one of them commented just furball or I can't even remember, but something so rude. And you could tell it was me because of my curly hair or something. Yeah. So maybe mine would be something about like a fur ball.
Rude.
Fuzzy haired something. Yeah. High school. Good times. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Sage, I know a few of your passions and hobbies, but just give us an overview of just things that get you excited and that you're putting your energy into.
Right now I'm training for a marathon.
Woo woo.
It'll be my first, so I
I'm all
love
for
to
that.
run. Yeah, I love running. I wouldn't say I'm like good at it by any means, but I do love it.
That's
So
awesome. That's the boat I am in. Like I've gotten better at it, but I'm not good at it. I just run for fun and for my
Yeah.
sanity.
for sure, it's like so nice to just get out and have time to yourself. But
Yeah.
that, just like the ocean, I guess, is always
Yeah.
something like whenever I see the ocean, I'm like, peace.
Yeah.
And then I think just like talking to people about Jesus.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, I'm always looking for ways to do that. And so I feel like I find so many random ways throughout the week to do that. But it's so fun and it keeps me on my toes. And I feel like it introduces me to so many different people and so many different crowds of people that it keeps me really engaged and
Yeah.
like close to heaven, I guess, which is fun.
I love that. And I would love to talk more about it because I would assume some of my demographic that listens to this podcast, the 20 people that listen, thank you. I'm sure they're like maybe similar to my age where we've been home from our missions coming on like 6-7 years, you know? So it's like not as easy for us to remember what it's like to talk about Jesus, you know, whereas like the first year after being home from your mission, it's still in your blood, which is amazing. And my little sister just got into Brooke, Sage's roommate, and like just how she talks, how she prays, you know, you can tell there's a difference, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, how do I tap back into that? But yeah, I always look forward to traveling because that I feel like it's easier traveling than when you're just at home and walking on the street sharing your testimony about Jesus, but even like ministering in your wards and stuff like that. But okay, so let's start with the first one, running. So have you been a runner? Didn't you do soccer in high school? Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up playing soccer. So it's like there's running in that obviously, but in middle school I did cross country and track and field, but that was mostly just because it was like I needed to stay in shape, so it wasn't really anything real. And then once like COVID hit, I started running a little bit more, and so I would go on runs with my friend. But then on my mission, I never ran because it was like snowy, dark, and
Yeah.
like it'd be pitch black when we were supposed to be going on a run. And so we'd be like scared because we're like, we don't want to go run.
Did you have wild dogs too?
No, actually,
okay.
but just like scary drunk men.
Yep. No, my mission had the drunk men and wild dogs. So we would just have to like run up and down the stairs of our apartment complex. It was scary.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and a lot of my comps just didn't like to run.
Mhm.
So
I forced I didn't force them, but I highly persuaded them to come run with me every time.
yeah. So like after my first companion, she was like a runner. I ran with her. After her, didn't run again. And so I got to the point where I was like, I just really miss running so much.
Yeah.
When I get back, I'm gonna run a marathon, which was like such an interesting goal for me because every time I ran at home, I quit soccer because I got stress fractures in my shins. Like I just got really bad shins. And so like every time I would try to run after that, I would get really bad shin splints to the point where like walking was bad. And my parents were like, dude, like
Stop.
don't walk, like don't run. Like
Yeah.
you can't go up and down the stairs. Like what's wrong with you? But I just liked it. And so I was like, no, like I'm gonna make it my goal. But this training cycle, like I haven't gotten shin splints at all. So
Do you stretch your calves and your feet?
I need to be better about stretching, honestly.
Because that is like the number one me too. I need to like set alarms for stretching and rolling out. But like, especially after you run, do like 5 to 10 minutes of stretching. I had a stress fracture in high school too from track and took a month off of running. I like cried. I'm like, I can't run for a month.
Yeah.
Running is the best. Yeah, I love it. Well, that's exciting. I'm so happy for you, and I think you're going to love it and get addicted. And maybe we can do one together in California.
That would be so fun. Yeah, running along the coast.
Yeah.
I was home for like last weekend, and my times like at home and just like running along the coast, I was like, this is a different story. Like this is so.
Yeah, no elevation gain. The elevation gain's brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fun. Do you think, well, we'll ask this after a marathon, because when I've run a marathon, I'm like, everyone should do at least one marathon in their life. So I'm curious, we'll have to touch bases back with you when you're done with it. We kind of talked about running alongside the ocean. So you grew up, were you born in California then?
So I was born in Arizona.
Oh, that's right. And then moved to California.
Lived in Arizona till I was like in 5th grade. One of those years I spent in Massachusetts, and then moved to California.
Did you live with Bella?
Uh-huh,
oh,
yeah.
Fun. Okay, that's awesome. That's their family from Boston that moved to Utah.
Yeah. So I lived with my grandparents out in Massachusetts.
Wonderful. So are you like surfer? What do you do in the ocean, or are you just like being by the ocean?
I love to swim in the ocean. I would prefer swimming in the ocean over any form of water, but
Why?
I'll go. Sorry, what?
Why do you prefer the ocean over any other body of water?
It just feels like, I don't know, so much more refreshing. Like chlorine dries me out. And then I feel like lake water just kind of feels grosser than the ocean water.
And you're not scared of sharks? or eels or jellyfish or fish?
I used to be like deathly afraid of going deep. I would only go deep in the ocean at one beach because for some reason I thought like that one beach was safe. Like, so my dad would try to take me surfing at other beaches and I wouldn't go out. Like I would like be so scared. But I've gotten over that fear.
Because you surf and you swim out to where it's deep, and if you fall in, you're just in the depths of the ocean, and you're fine. I'm trying to I want to be that way. I've never surfed before. I've swam in the ocean, but I'm always so hesitant to get in at first. And if anyone else is like me, what advice do you have?
I really do think it just takes time, getting comfortable with it, and then also just realizing I'm way more scared if I'm the only one out.
Yeah.
If I'm the only one out in the ocean, then I'm gonna be a little bit okay, this is kind of sketchy. But if I'm going out in the summer, chances are there's tons of people out in the water
surfing.
And or just swimming. There's tons of tourists.
Yeah.
And the chances of you being the one to get bit by a shark, so low.
So low. There was a video on CNN of the shark in Florida. Did you see that on social media? It was right in between all these people playing in the water, and it just this huge shark swimming through. And I'm like, usually they don't bother you if you don't bother them, but
yeah,
I hear it's more common that you'd get in a car crash than it is you'd get bit by a shark.
Yeah, you stay pretty safe. My dad's been out surfing while a great white has breached, and he was okay.
You're
and
kidding.
So.
Oh my gosh.
It was all right.
Was your dad young, or was he when he was your dad?
When he was my dad, it was just I don't know, probably 4 years ago.
Holy cow! So he's a pretty big surfer.
Yeah, he goes every day.
Wow.
Yeah, he loves it.
What's the best beach to start learning how to surf on? Near your house in California.
I think that's preference on what wave. I would say probably not a reef. We have some reef breaks near us, and that's if you're gonna fall, you don't want to fall in a reef.
Oh yeah.
Just one of the ones with sand instead of reef. But
have you had any major injuries?
No, luckily. I'm really cautious when it comes to surfing. I'm not good. I am really cautious about it, which I think is one of the reasons I'm not super good at it. Because my brother and my dad, they'll go out whatever the size of wave, whatever the conditions. They just go crazy. But I'm okay, if the waves are huge, I'm good, thanks. I don't want to go. Or, yeah, I stay on the cautious end of things. But it's fun. If my friends are going out, I'll go. Or, people love to go night surfing. So it's I'll go do that. But
the ocean in the dark? It sounds even more scary. I'm I need to just get over my fears one by one. That's so fun, though.
yeah, it's fun.
I love all the surfing movies, Chasing Mavericks,
That's a
Soul
good
Surfer.
one.
I'm like, there's literally two I can think of. Does your mom surf?
No. Nope.
And she grew up in Boston, Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Any last thoughts or things people should know about your first two hobbies or passions? Any running tips for new runners?
I don't think so.
Just get out and
I
do
know.
it, huh?
Yeah. Don't run in jorts.
Oh boy.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes I see new runners running things that make running seem like it would be more miserable. And
Yeah.
I'm like, run in things that are so cozy.
Yeah. So
And then you'll like it.
lightweight, so you don't die
Yeah.
of heat. Get good shoes. Yeah.
It's worth being so cozy.
And stay hydrated. Like, the more I learn about running, it's like, yeah, a 3-mile run, you might not need to eat anything before, but like, you definitely have to hydrate and maybe take some type of replenish snack or something. Yeah, there's so many little things that, like, when you start figuring them out, they make all the difference. But
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. I think it's so awesome. All right, now for your last passion. I'm sure you have many more passions, but one I want to focus on today is talking about Jesus and why you love that and how others can do that more.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like, I think in high school, I would like honestly shy away a lot from like talking about Jesus with people. I think a lot of that came from I was one of the only members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at my high school. I say only, like there are other people too, but it's like
Small.
we were a minority.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot scarier when people start asking questions because you're like, okay, like I know that I'm like strange to them. Like there's not tons of people backing me up here. And so it was always kind of nerve-wracking to get into a conversation about it. But every time that I had a friend like genuinely ask questions, like want to know, and I felt like I could answer and like, sit down and be like, okay, let's actually talk about this, and just kind of be like, let's talk. I loved it. Like I had so much fun just talking to them, and we had such good conversations. And honestly, then a lot of those conversations ended with me being like, I'm not really sure. I need to go talk to my mom and like study a little bit more, and I'll come back to you, because I was in high school and like
Yeah.
I loved Jesus then, but like I didn't know that much. Like I was trying, but I mean I still don't know that much, but like especially then, like I was so busy, and like I don't know. I just really didn't have answers to many of their questions because I didn't have very much experience answering questions. And it was such a good experience for me to be able to say like, hey, I don't really know the answer to that. Can I go like study
Find out.
and come?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's cool.
it was super cool, and I feel like that shaped my testimony a lot, and it prepared me a lot to be able to go into my mission in Poland, where a lot of people there are Catholic. They had a lot of questions, like tons, and
Wow.
I was so ready to just be like, all right, let's sit down. And I would just sit
Let's
with people on
study.
buses and open the Book of Mormon and just read with them. And I would ask them questions, and if they didn't have an answer, I'd be like, okay, but like, let's keep talking. And I don't know, I'm a pretty like bold person. I'm pretty like open, straight to the point. And I feel like when that comes to like questions in the gospel, it was such a blessing for me.
Because you're not afraid to share what you know as well as find out about people. I think a lot of missionaries that get sent to Eastern Europe and like Russia, like it was very different than Poland, but like similar thing where I have no filter. I'm like gonna ask them what they believe, and I'm gonna share what I believe. Like no questions answered. And yeah, some of the most sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit, but some of like the most powerful experiences were just sitting on the bus, like you said, and I'd be like, so like, what's the purpose of your life? And they'd be like, I don't know. And I'd be like, how do you not know? You know, like in a nice
Yeah.
way, and try to, and then just pull out my Plan of Salvation pamphlet and be like, look, like you can know. And then, yeah, then we couldn't proselyte and all we did was serve. But service, like, I know you did so much service on your mission too, which will be fun to hear about. But it's just cool how, whether by words or by your actions, like people could feel Jesus through you. And I think that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's something that I've just tried to bring home, is like something that I tried really hard every day on my mission was to look for miracles. And that is so easy to see when you believe that you're doing God's work. Like that's so easy to expect when you're like, yeah, but like I believe that God sent me here and I believe that he wants me to be doing this. So of course he's going to give me miracles.
Yeah, because he called you specifically to that place. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's like, yeah, like it's almost not like expected, but it's like, yeah, like I believe that he's going to help me out because he wants this.
Yeah.
And it's so much harder to expect miracles in your daily life because you're like, I don't know for sure if he wants me to have this miracle, because what if this is just my desire?
Ooh,
Or what
yeah.
if this is just like, you know, like I don't know if what I'm praying for right now is like me, or like I don't know. And
the
so
Spirit helping you pray too, because that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Know what to pray for.
It's so much harder to like be like, oh, but I still can see miracles every single day, even though I'm not like on God's errand every second. And I feel like I've had to really shift my mindset and be like, no, like I can still totally be on God's errand whenever.
Yeah.
And I think I've like developed this phrase and this mentality that's like, it's so weird. I don't know if I'm gonna really be able to explain it, but I call it like the miracle mindset. And I think that it starts with going out of your comfort zone. Like you're never gonna see miracles if you are staying where you are. Like if you're going through your daily routine and you're praying and you want to see miracles, but you're still just gonna do the same thing that you do every day, you're probably not gonna see the miracles. You're probably not going to see a change.
Yeah.
Because how could you?
Yeah, because you're just doing the same thing.
Yeah. But the second that like, okay, you're going to go through your daily routine and then you have maybe like a weird thought that you don't know is if it's like a prompting from the Spirit or it's just your weird thought or whatever, and you decide to act on it, like then maybe you'll start seeing miracles. Or then maybe you'll start seeing change. And maybe you don't see a miracle right then, but you're at least in a spot where you're willing to take risks and put yourself in a position where God is going to be able to use you more.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's so cool that you developed that habit on your mission. I remember, I think the year after I got home, I remember, I think I had broken up with this boy and I was just sad, and I went to Barnes & Noble. You know, that was my place. And I was in Barnes & Noble and just looking at these books in the children's section, and this lady's little kid was running all over, and she had like 3 other kids. So I just like sat down and read him a book and ended up like helping him while she got her things done. And then I ended up helping like walk her kids to her car and buckle them up. And I had been like praying for specific ways to serve. And then it just takes our effort of just being a little bit more aware. And yeah, I mean, that was so many years ago, but like I still remember that experience. So then it's like, okay, how do I use those and experiences since to like propel me to be in that space you were talking about, that miracle mindset? So do you journal your miracles? What helps you?
I'm actually so bad at journaling, and I need to be better at it. Something I've been doing right now, which is nice and I won't have forever, but my last mission companion is still out in the field, and so I'll send her voice recordings, which is fun because then I have like, I don't know, like kind of a record of it.
Yeah.
So I'll go back. So if I have like a thought, whether like in the temple or something, like I'll send it to her.
Cool.
Or if like a cool experience happens, I'll send it to her, and it's so fun. And it's also nice because it's like she can't respond right away, so it's like it's not like I'm getting like instant feedback, which is honestly a nice thing.
It is like a journal. You're just sharing the miracle and then maybe evaluating them after too. It's good to share them and keep them in memory for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else helps you talk about Jesus with others?
I think
Especially now being home.
getting over, like, for me being home, the biggest thing has been like I'm like blanking on a way to say this, but I feel like I have my own perspective of people's mindset of me, and just kind of getting past that and looking for ways to put myself out there. So whether that's like, there was this girl, I became good friends with someone since I'd been home, and she was like, there's this girl that I think you're gonna be best friends with. And before my mission, like, I would have never just started texting her. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna text her. So I texted her, I was like, hey, what's up?
Let's be friends.
Yeah. She said that we're gonna be best friends, so we need to hang out. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to this institute. It's called like Adaptive Needs Institute, and we go and like help adults with special needs. And do you want to come? And I was like, sure. And so we went, and then I've been going every week since. And so that's like been an amazing way that I've met a whole new group of people who go and help all these people talk about Jesus, that if I wasn't willing to put myself out there, I would have never gone to. Or
I
like
love that. It's getting rid of your pride, and pride looks different. And like, some people just think of pride as someone who's cocky and not willing to learn, but like, pride can also mean like not willing to act on certain things because of an ego, or doing things because of an ego. Yeah, it's hard because sometimes they slip beneath, and it's hard to pinpoint, oh, okay, that's coming from ego, not from charity. You know, like pinpointing the right motives and intentions.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Totally.
I love this. These are fun thoughts. Do you miss the mission?
Yes.
I feel like I wanted to just go back, which is crazy because it was the hardest thing ever. But for the first little while, I missed it so much.
Yeah, every day I'm like, okay, I want to be back in Poland. I like text my mom. I'm like, so if I don't get into my program next year, just so you know, I might be dropping out of school and moving to Poland.
And you got to visit your mission with your family, huh?
Yeah. So I've already been back too. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to go back in 2020, and then COVID hit, and then I was going to go back soon, and then now there's a war. So I'm out of luck for now, but I know there's tons of Russian refugees in Poland and in everywhere. So it's like I was in Germany and ran into a Russian or Ukrainian like every day. So I was able to like communicate and chat with them, you know, and I love anytime I hear it. Or even running my race a month ago, like this lady was talking and I was like, where are you from? She goes, Colorado. And I was like, where's your accent from? And she goes, oh, Russia. And then I just spoke Russian to her, you know. It's just fun to always have like that piece like for the rest of your life, and then let it motivate you to like, okay, how can I be doing that now? Like the habits I built as a missionary and keeping them up. So do you pray for do you pray for miracles, or how does that look? Do you pray for service opportunities?
I pray to be led every day.
That's a new way I've never prayed that way. I think I did on my mission, but okay, being led. I like that.
And like sometimes I'll specifically pray for miracle opportunities, and sometimes I don't, but every day I do pray to be led, because I think sometimes I need more guidance too, of just like I'm in a phase right now where it's like I'm trying to make new friends. I'm trying to like figure out what I need in relationships and for a major and everything. And it's like I need him leading me in so many aspects of my life. And so I'm just like, please lead me in this and in this and in this. But I feel like as I've prayed to be led, it's also led my thoughts in ways that guide me towards Christ, even as I'm like driving. And it's been so cool. Like I'll be like driving down the street and see something, and it'll be like, oh my gosh, like this reminds me of this time that my dad took me to do this, and I need to do that again because it reminded me of this. And I don't know, it's just been really cool.
So being led by the Spirit is just kind of how we live our lives, and more than not, we have the Spirit with us, guiding us, if we're paying attention to those things.
Yeah.
So what helps you then, like you gave that example of like you saw something that reminded you to do something. So being led is followed by action. So what helps you act, I guess, if that's not too broad of a question?
I think just
or be confident that you're acting in the right way.
Yeah, I guess being confident acting the right way is always like the trickier part. But I don't know, I think for me, because on my mission I developed a habit of like, just do it. If it comes to your mind, like it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I'm not having things come to mind that are like gonna make my life worse. They're always gonna enhance my life. Like, and if it's not, like, I don't know, I don't have those thoughts come to mind, but I'm sure if I did, I wouldn't entertain it. I don't know, but like, when a thought comes to mind, if it's gonna enhance my life, like I'm gonna try to do that thing. And then that makes me excited. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, that's such an exciting thing. Like, I can see how it's gonna make that better, or that's gonna help that person, or stuff like that.
I like the part of getting excited about it, because I feel like sometimes when we have like a thought, whether it be good or even like a neutral thought, and we have that internal debate of do I do it, do I not, sometimes that happens immediately, and it's usually probably the adversary saying nope, don't do it, because usually the first thought's from God, and then it's always countered, doubt's always brought in right after. So it's like a matter of choosing to be excited to act on a thought too. Like if someone's in need, or you want to bring a friend dinner, then like being excited to be like, ooh, what's their favorite food? I'm going to make it and then take it to them, just because you had that thought, and then maybe they didn't need dinner, but it's just a nice, like, who doesn't want a free dinner any given night,
Yeah.
So it's like no matter what, it's going to be a good thing. I love that. Okay, you said something kind of at the beginning of this discussion I wanted to go back to. It was kind of along the lines of like transitioning from a mission and being home, where you knew what to be praying for and how to be guided, and then being home, you're not quite sure what to be asking for. Tell me more about that. Do you remember what you said about that? If not, no worries, we can jump over it. But kind of like following God's will for you in your life. Like you were on his same, like doing his work.
Oh.
So now your life, it's like, okay, your life is your work, but it's still God's plan and his work. So how do you combine the two with like dating and college and stuff like that?
Yeah, I feel like that was the trickiest thing for me about coming home. Is not like, I feel like pretty quickly after I got home, I was like, oh, like I feel normal, which a lot of people were shocked by. Like, you normal? I was like, yeah, I think so. Like, I don't know. I mean, I've always been weird, but like I feel normal.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
But it's just like, I knew every single day on my mission that what I was doing was fulfilling my purpose, because I had such a clear purpose. Like, they tell you so clearly, like, your purpose is to find, teach, and baptize. Your purpose is to help others come unto Jesus Christ. And there's such specific ways that you can do that. And you have a companion that's with you at all times that helps you know how to do that.
Yeah.
And you have like designated time to read your scriptures and everything. And so then coming home and having to kind of set a purpose for yourself, like, was so tricky for me, because I knew that I wanted to still help people come unto Jesus Christ, but it's like, now that is my family and my friends. And now that is like just the people around me and myself, and I have to figure out my own guidance to do that.
Yeah.
And I have, like, at the time I was just home, like I wasn't going to school, I didn't have work, I just had like long days, like so long, and I was like,
what do
I don't know how to fill this, like, and so I was doing like the most random things every day, like, okay, mom, you have these leftover flowers. Can I just go take them to people? And she's like, what? Like, you're weird. And I'm like, yeah, I know, Mom, but I have nothing to do. Like,
I would give cookies to strangers on a bus. I know where you're coming from. Like, just so random.
Yeah, and I feel like that was like an extreme that I went through the first like 2 weeks that I was home, but I went through a lot trying to figure out how I find kind of a balance. And as I was talking about this, I thought about something that I wrote, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. But 1 second, real quick.
Yeah.
Because it's this cool thought. I had this companion. Okay, so I had this companion. She would talk a lot about how she had this journey, and I don't know if you've listened to Jared Halverson, and he talks about like faith journey and how a lot of people look back at Eden with contempt, and how it's like they wish that they could go back there because it was a place that was so perfect, but it was a place that like we had to leave, because we need the atonement to, like, now we can go above Eden.
Yeah.
And I wrote this like the week I got home. And I just said, it's easy and makes sense to look back on Eden with contempt if you don't see the whole plan yet. So if I don't have joy yet, I haven't used the atonement enough in my current circumstance.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so I was like, in that week home, I was like just so missing my mission and looking back on it and feeling like that was my Eden. And I was so happy there, and it was so easy for me to utilize the atonement and to find Jesus there.
Yeah.
And what am I missing here? And what I realized is I just need to find ways to use the atonement more every single day, because that's what will elevate me to the next step.
Ooh,
and
that's
the second that I figured that out, I felt like I did start to elevate my life, and I started to find ways to let Jesus in more every day, and kind of, I don't know, it started helping me get past that.
Do you feel like you received more like direction for your life as you did that?
I think so. I think too, my life started getting busier. Like, I had already made plans on my mission. I knew that I was going to be coming home and that I was going to need plans, and I had prayed about them so much on my mission. So there was just a tiny bit of dead time. And so I was like going into plans. I had spring semester planned out. I had summer semester planned out. Right. And I felt good about it on my mission, but there was just like a dead space that I had.
Yeah. Well, cool. Okay, so we'll end with, I have one more question for you, and then we'll end with just like a takeaway from today's episode, or like just something you hope others will take away from this. Okay, but the last question is just, why do you love Jesus?
I love Jesus because I just know that he loves me. I know that like is so simple, but I just am so grateful for everything that he's done for me and for the atonement. And I have felt that power in my life, and I've seen it transform me, and I've seen it transform other people. And I think when you see power transform people and elevate people, you can't have anything but awe and wonder and gratitude and love. And that's what I have for my Savior.
That's beautiful. It really is like just about tangible power, like, because you can see it when it touches people's lives. Yeah. Well, I love that. I love talking about Jesus too. There's a Christian song called My Jesus by Ann Wilson. If you haven't heard that, you should look it up. You probably already know it, but yeah. It's just fun to hear like general Christian people as well. I feel like since I've been home many years, like I've transitioned to just talking more openly with other Christians, and I love learning about other religions, and I love just finding connections. Be like, oh yeah, we believe something totally similar. Like, that's so awesome that we have these truths that we love and can live a great life. You know, like, you don't need to be a member of my church to be like an amazing Christian. And I love that. God knows that. God knows their journey. Everything works out, you know, but like, even just helping someone remember that they have a testimony of Jesus Christ, like, is that little step that can help them in their own life. So I love this, and I hope everyone enjoyed listening to your testimony and your light and your passion for this. I'll post your Instagram if people want to look up. She's posted some really cool service things she did in Poland and videos she made as a missionary just to help the work there, and I just thought it was so cool. So yeah. Okay, last final words, your last takeaway, and then we'll wrap it up.
I just know that Jesus and God are gods of miracles, and that there's actually, I'll share this quote real quick that I thought was so cool. It's actually by Albert Einstein, so
Nice.
It's so random, but I thought it was the coolest quote ever. It's, there are two ways to live. You can live as if nothing is a miracle. You can live as if everything is a miracle. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and all science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped is awe, is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. And I just think that's so cool. Like, I don't know what Albert Einstein believed in, but I think that that's so true. And that awe and miracle seeking has such a great power in our lives if we let it.
Yeah. Viewing it's like a paradigm shift when you start to view things as like, oh, this person's in my life. That's a miracle that I met this person for whatever reason. Yeah. I love that. My uplifting takeaway is something I've had in the back of my mind as we've been talking, so I haven't shared it yet, but it kind of was with that comment you made at the beginning, just like the purpose you have on your mission. God literally like called an apostle to call you anywhere in the world, you know, and sent you to a specific place. And then just like the rest of our lives, you know, it's a greater mission. Like you said, you know, there's more miracles and greater things to come. And sometimes it's hard to believe because you're like, oh, my mission's the best thing in the whole world. And high schoolers are like, I don't want to leave high school, it was the best, you know, but then they get into college and college is great. You know, it's like every next chapter is the greatest, you know? And then, but the thought I had was, my friend Tammy said, like, if God cares so much about where you go on your mission that he called an apostle to call you, like, how much more is God concerned about who you choose as your eternal companion, you know, and planning and orchestrating you in that path to find that person to be with for forever? I mean, that's where I'm at in my life more, and you're probably getting close into that realm, and you're there. But just like remembering that and viewing things as a miracle in that light, especially like with relationships and dating, just knowing that God is in the details, and if we look for those miracles, we will find them. And evidences, I feel like evidences are miracles, you know, and it's fun to label them as miracles. Because I look for evidence in God's hand, but like they are miracles if you like really think about it. So thank you for helping me remember that and for sharing all your lovely thoughts. I'm excited for everyone to hear about this. This is fun. And good luck marathon training, and we'll have to follow up with that.
Thanks.
Okay. See you, Sage. Thank you.
Yeah.